Our next speaker is from Migrants Organise, a fantastic organisation that's standing up for some of the most persecuted people coming across in very, very difficult circumstances to this country and facing the hostility of a horrible government that treats them as an enemy. And we say migrants are welcome here. Our next speaker, please support him. It's Sali Nana, who's a migrant organiser for Yorkshire and Humber region.
Hello, thank you very much. I'm going to speak quickly in the interest of time. I'm not going to repeat what people have said. What I can say is that rising global temperatures displace humans. Rising energy bills affect the most vulnerable in our society, which includes migrants and refugees. The UK government pays billions of taxpayers' money to private companies to build and manage immigration detention centers. This money that should have gone towards public services for everyone. Instead, they put public funds in the pockets of cut-neck capitalists. Last year, the UK government spent £11.7 million on charter flights to unjustifiably deport a handful of vulnerable migrants to their death. This money that could have been used to alleviate poverty and reduce the impact of the cost of living for all communities in the UK and also address the climate crisis. Last year, the UK government deported 4 persons in a 300-seater plane to Jamaica. How much CO2 did the flight emit? In 2021, the government hired 74 flights to 13 countries, deporting 1,305 persons. That is an average of about 17 persons per flight. How much emissions did the 74 flights release to the planet? The government uses the hostile environment policies to distract from the real issues people face, like the cost of living crisis and the climate crisis. They divide communities and undermine our ability to unite against worthwhile causes like the climate change cause. It is the old divide and rule strategies that were used from time immemorial and for colonizing a lot of the countries that are suffering now. Deportations are not just immigration issues. They also impact on climate change and cost of living. Deportations involve hiring super expensive charter flights and private security companies with public funds. The £11.7 million that was talked about does not include the money that the government paid to private security companies to man these deportations. They rip families apart and deport British citizens to their death for not only to face persecution, but also to face floods, hurricanes, droughts, and hunger caused by climate change. Poor countries suffer from effects of carbon emissions of the global north. This is on top of the debt burden used to strangulate poor countries in order to exploit their resources and keep them under colonial exploitation. Presently, floods are killing people in Pakistan, Nigeria, and other countries. Drought is devastating many other countries. Western countries trigger wars and support oppressive regimes in poor countries. China and other Asian and Middle Eastern countries use money to support authoritarian regimes in order to extract minerals, oil, and labor from them. As a result, people are forced to flee their countries, and while here in the UK, while trying to seek protection, they are oppressed, dehumanized, and deported, including to Rwanda. The climate crisis is a multi-layer crisis. To address the climate crisis goes beyond addressing only one or few aspects of it. We must address all the aspects that make up the crisis, including human displacement, which triggers migration. We join our voices to those all over the world to demand for action, not words. We demand action on reparations. We demand action on adaptation. We demand action on mitigation. We demand action on climate finance. We demand action on prevention. And we demand action on good governance. Without good governance, all policies to deal with the effects of climate change in the global south cannot be sustainable. Stop indebting poor countries in collaboration with corrupt regimes. To address the multi-layered climate change, we need a multi-layered approach and a strong, effective movement of movements. The only way to achieve this is if we confederate all our causes. Solidarity knows no borders. Thank you very much.